Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. We are just so excited to be here and be talking with you guys. I was recently reading a story and it was just something that was really, different things about it just jumped out in my heart, so I just wanted to share it with you today, and Chris and I have talked about it, and so I have her here with me today on Meet the Yestas, so here we are.
So here we are, yeah. It's been awesome just this past couple months getting on here and actually meeting some of you guys and hearing the feedback from some of these videos. It's been just like way more, far-reaching than we ever would have imagined, so we're excited. This season actually is coming to an end, and we will go through the month of August and then restart up in January.
Yes.
So so stay with us, and we have a lot more awesome little nuggets for you for the rest of the season. So so we're gonna get into it. So today,
so we're gonna do just a little series on what we think about, and so this is what we think about girls running the world.
Yep. So so obviously the place to start when you talk about being a girl who runs the world, woman boss, if you will,
boss wife, mom boss.
Yeah.
Even if you're not a mom or wife, you can still be a girl boss.
Girl boss.
Yeah.
So the place that I would, you would obviously start would be in Proverbs 31.
Yes.
So it says in verse 10 in Proverbs 31, "Who can find a virtuous and capable wife? Thank you. She is more precious than rubies, and her husband can trust her. She will greatly enrich his life. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. She finds wool and flax and busily spins it. She's like a merchant."
Do that?
No, you do that.
No, like, do you get like
The
flax
wool and
and
flax.
stuff?
Yeah, of course, obviously.
Okay. I need to step up my game.
Obviously. She gets up before dawn to prepare breakfast for her household. You do that. And plan the day's work for her servant girls.
I really just want coffee.
So you definitely, you have me beat on getting up early. So I'm working on it. She goes to inspect a field and buys it. Now that one was really crazy to me because I can't even imagine like coming home and being like, "Hey Ryan, I bought a piece of property today. I hope you're cool with that." But hey, she bought it. She bought a piece of property, and she's energetic and strong, a hard worker. She makes her dealings she makes sure her dealings are profitable, and her lamp burns late into the night. So she's up early, she's up late, she's out there doing business basically,
working
and so
hard.
she's working hard.
Yes.
And so basically our thoughts on women on running the world is that absolutely you should be 100% amazing at whatever you're doing.
Yes,
so if you're a teenager, young woman, early 20s, maybe not married yet, then you should be amazing at whatever you're doing, and that's kind of the story that we lead into.
Yes, so the story that I was reading, and a lot of things just really stuck out to me, was the story of Ruth. And so going through that story, you really realize how she is a Proverbs 31 woman, like all the way. So it's like, we read about Proverbs 31, but like this is an actual example. So we're going to go through a couple of things, and there's a couple of things I want to point out. If you're single or if you're married, there's just a couple of things that really, I was like, that's just something that's so good that no matter, where you are, like there's something for you in this message. So definitely stay tuned. So we're just going to just go through Ruth right now. So basically Ruth had, her sister-in-law, I can never say her name, Orpah, is that how you say it? Orpah. It's I can't say her name, so anyway, I guess I need to go to like a pronunciation class. But the biggest difference between her and Ruth was that she left. So whenever Naomi was like, "Hey, both of your husbands have died," which were their sons, or her sons, they decided, "Oh, we're going to stay with you." And then she's like, no, you must go back, go be with your own people. And, the one sister left, and then Ruth said, "No, I'm going to stay with you." So she honored her mother-in-law, and so that's really important. I think if that's not a good relationship, work on that relationship, because it's one that the Lord has put there in your life, and it can be such a blessing in your life. So that's one major encouragement I have for you guys, is honor your mother-in-law. And the second thing is, she said, "Your God will be my God and your people will be my people." She had friends, she had family, but she decided to stay with her mother-in-law, honor her, but also honor God and make him the Lord of her life and do, what was pleasing to her in that moment. It's like, that's what she felt she needed to do. So there's that little nugget. And then the next thing is that it says Ruth in chapter 2, it talks about how Ruth worked and how she was gleaning the field, and that Boaz noticed her basically because she was working. If she would not have been working, Boaz probably would never have noticed who she is, So, and then this is something that I thought was very profound and really awesome. It says she worked hard. This is in 2 verse 7. It says she worked hard from early in the morning and rested for a little while in the house. And so for girls, whether you are single, if you're married, if you're young, if you're old, I think one thing that we see here is the hand of a diligent woman and putting your hand to something and, really going after it and really working hard in whatever you're doing. I don't think that probably gleaning the field was Ruth's dream job. It wasn't her ultimate, thing that she was going after, but she was diligent and she was faithful in that.
Yeah. It makes you a standout person when you have a job, whether it's, working at a drive-through or, working at the mall, doing something, that at the level that you're at right now, but you're actually enjoying it and you're working hard at it and you're the best at what you do. It really says a lot about your character when you put your hands to something and you see it grow and you're not like dreading going to work and you're working for the weekends and you're not even enjoying life and you're just you're waiting for some, something else to come along. It's like, you're supposed to enjoy the place that God has you right now because the place that he has you right now is going to lead into the next place that he has for you. So.
Well, and that led her into meeting Boaz. And so, it says that, Boaz noticed her. And then he said, let her come and work by my maidens. So the personal people that were working for him, he's like, hey, basically like, I'm going to show her some favor. And that was because she was being diligent. And then he gave his men special instructions not to bother her and basically kind of like give her free reign to do, what she wanted to do. And then it also talks about how he fed her. So at that point, it's like you kind of know that he's really taken note and he's really taken interest in this girl, that she's really done something that has stood out, So it's like if you just sit there and you're just average, just, going along, with a average attitude and
honestly, nobody likes to be around somebody that's got this like feel bad for me attitude,
right?
And you probably don't even like being around yourself, honestly. So having a good outlook on life and a good attitude and choosing to not let your circumstances create who you are, but you choosing that, hey, I'm this person, I'm gonna have a good attitude, I'm gonna enjoy life no matter what's going on, even if you're not at the place that you would desire to be at. So
well, and it goes on to say in verse 14 it says like he fed her, and then it says she was humbled, and in verse 10 it says she fell on her face. And so it's like even though he started noticing her, she wasn't haughty about it, she wasn't arrogant about it, she wasn't like, look at me, I am so great. She continued to work hard, and then she stayed very humble. And so I think a lot of times it's like, whether it be in our work, whatever, it's like, obviously compliments are nice, but it's like it just goes to your head, and then it's like you think like, oh, look at me, like I do this, and it's like, that's not really an attractive quality to have. It's good to be confident, but to be like haughty is not really an attractive quality. So but her sacrifice paid off. So the sacrifice of her staying with her mother-in-law and working hard and being diligent, whenever Boaz noticed her, it says that he heard of what she had done for her mother-in-law, and basically that really impressed him. And so obviously Ruth and Naomi were talking about this, and they were talking about, her meeting Boaz and what this meant, and, all these things. And so she gave her some very specific advice. So she got ready, and it says that she washed herself and anointed herself and put on her best clothes. And I think that's something that Chris and I have talked about, a little bit, but just taking care of yourself and presenting yourself in a way that is like a good way to be presented. But then she also, in talking to Naomi, she said that in chapter 3, verse 3. She said, don't make yourself known until he has finished eating or drinking. And I think that that's really important. That's a big tip, I think, when you're dating, but especially whenever you're married, make sure that if you need to talk to your husband about something, if there's something important that's going on, whatever, it's like whenever he first walks in the door, if he's been working, especially with like what our husbands do, at the end of a long day is not the time to bring up, these seriously long conversations and, whatever. It's really important to take care of them, to make sure, that they're comfortable, that they're fed, that they're well rested, because you're definitely going to get a more favorable response. So I know for me, because of our work schedule is definitely like a different set than most people have, but because of that, like I'll wait and I'll talk to him about things like we have a date morning, or I'll talk to him about things on Sundays. And so there's biblical truth to waiting to talk to a man about something you need to talk about until he's well rested. So I just think that that's really important. If you know me, you'll probably hear me say that quite a bit. So, and then, so he had eaten, he was relaxed. And then it says that he wasn't in conversation, he wasn't having to deal with other issues. He obviously had people that worked for him, so he had stuff that was going on, in his life. So if she would have come up to him in the field and wanted to like present herself to him, he probably would have been like, lady, I'm in the middle of my work day, like, what are you doing, And
there's a lot of truth to that, just on that note, like going after, if you're a woman and you're going after a man, even if there is interest on his side, you should let him pursue you, and that's the way that it's supposed to work, because it isn't attractive to them to see you coming out of your way, and there's a lot we could really like expand on this, but let women, you deserve to be pursued, and you have to give that man the room to pursue you, and it's just going to make things go so much better, because that is how the relationship works. You respect them and love them and take care of them, and they pursue you, and that's not just in the dating relationship, but that's your whole marriage, that's everything. So just let that set that precedence that they will pursue you in the very beginning in the dating, and let them prove that they deserve you.
Right. So one thing I think that's very interesting about the story of Ruth is that she was obedient, not only to Boaz, because he said, come and glean in my field, and I think like she could have been like, no, I'm not worthy, I'm lonely, I'll just stay over here. But he said, do this, and she said, okay, and he said, come eat, and she came, but then also all that she did, with Naomi, because like whenever she went and ate, she actually brought her back food, and it was like she still cared for her. She wasn't just like, hey, I'm gonna find this guy and then leave. She could have done that, but she stayed with her mother-in-law and cared for her. And Boaz, it specifically says, he says, you haven't gone after young men, whether rich or poor. And I just think that that's so cool, because here's this girl who's working hard, and she didn't get impatient waiting for Boaz. I think a lot of people, they're just like, I just want to be married right now, or I just want this right now, or I just want, my business or my ministry or whatever it is that they're doing, all the things, I want a kid right now, and I think that was definitely a thing for me. Like I had, my timing and Tim's timing with kids wasn't exactly on the same page, because he was just so involved in work, and I was like getting frustrated, like, come on, like, let's go. And he was just like not there yet, but it's like there's something about that obedience, and not that like I guess it sounds weird to say I'm obedient to my husband, but there's that submissive, and it's a godly thing, you know? So if you don't have that in a dating relationship, you're not going to have that in a marriage. And if you don't, it's really a respect thing. Like if you don't respect him, it's going to come out. If you're dating somebody and
you don't think that they are someone who you want to respect or follow, just get out of the relationship.
Yes.
Because if you don't respect or follow what they think is best right now, it's not going to get any better. When you get married, it's going to get worse, and you're just going to get frustrated because you're not, you're trying to lead, and maybe you're just not suitable for each other. So that's a very good way to tell if that's the person that you're supposed to be with.
Yes.
Do you actually respect their decisions in life? Do you believe that they hear from God? Do you believe that they make good choices? with everything, that has to do with their life, because that's going to affect you in a big way
Yes.
when you get married. So yeah, looking to that person as a leader is not a bad thing.
Right.
It is a very
you
good
need
thing.
to.
Yeah.
You want to be with someone that's going somewhere where you want to follow.
Yeah.
And I think that girls they don't have to stay in the shadows. They can be in the limelight.
Yeah.
They can have success. They can run the house and have a business and do these other things. But it's like, biblically, it's a man and a woman running a house. Mm-hmm. It's not just a man and it's not just a woman. There's a certain way that God has ordained it. And so it's so important that no matter what you do, that things aren't being neglected, but also that you're not going after things that God has placed in your heart. Because I believe there's a lot of women, they're like, oh, I'm just going to take care of my kids and, take care of my husband. And there's really things awesome, important things that God has put in them that need to be shared, that need to be given out to the world, and they hold back. And, there is some sacrifice, but there's also so much reward in that. Yeah. So, and then getting back to Ruth and talking about her, it says that she was a woman of strength. And in the King James Version, it says that she was virtuous, which would mean, they said it's worth, bravery, and capability. And so I think that that's so awesome. It's like whenever we look at Proverbs 31 and we look at what that entails, it's like, am I a woman of worth? Am I a woman of bravery? And am I capable? And I think that so many women are so capable of so much more than what they're doing. Absolutely. They really just have to step out. Mm-hmm. Even for us doing, the whole Meet the Yestas project, it's like, well, where do we find the time and how are we going to do this? But it's like whenever you step out, God meets you there. Yep. So I encourage you that if there's something that you want to go after, be brave. You're capable. You can do it.
There's not too many people already doing what you're doing. Like if it's in your heart, just do it and don't worry about what you think people are going to say or people are going to do. If God's put something in your heart, just begin to step out into that, because most of the time, the thing that God's put in your heart, you're not going to be comfortable, 100% comfortable doing it at first. But when you step out, God will totally meet you there, and He'll give you the words to say, and He'll give you the wisdom to follow through with whatever it is that He's called you to do.
Yes. So one last thing I like to point out about the story of Ruth and Boaz is how in chapter 4 it talks about how Boaz went and got counsel. He didn't just say, all right, Ruth, I like you, I'm interested in you, I want to marry you, and run off and do it. But it says he went to the elders, and then part of it in that time was the person in the family had to redeem them. So I guess if you got married into a family, someone in that family had to marry you. And so
if the person had died.
Yeah.
Somebody else in the family.
Not just I just want to marry you to marry you. But in this situation where the husband had died, she actually had to marry someone in the family, which I'm glad it's not like that anymore. I don't know, maybe some people would like that, I don't know. But anyway, so he went and he talked to the elders can you redeem her? And the guy said, well, I want the land, but I don't want to marry her. And so then, he ended up getting the girl. And, he probably could have, gone and, said, well, I like you, I want you, I want to be with you. Mm-hmm. I see all these qualities in you, you're amazing. But, he took the time and got that counsel. And because of that, it's now Ruth, she's in the lineage of Jesus, which is really awesome. Yeah. And, it's just such a good example, I think, for, girls and women all over, the world. But really looking at that, it's they were not just running out and doing what they want because they wanted to do it, because they felt like they wanted to do it, but they were submissive to their authority. And that's something that I think a lot of people miss, where it's they have a lot of great qualities, but then whenever it comes to authority, they just kind of don't hold them in high regard. And so that's something that you definitely need to look out for, no matter what you're doing, if you're hiring employees, if you're marrying someone, if you're working for someone, even if you have a pastor, any person who's in authority over you, looking at them and respecting them. And you can see that Ruth and Boaz both had that, and because they had that, they were blessed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I think you can be the people that lead the best are the people that know how to I guess, listen to leadership
Yes.
and
Yeah.
submit to those authorities. So if you want to be a good leader, if you want to run your own business, if you want to, be some kind of boss at something that you're doing,
Yes.
you do have to, there has to be a season where you've submitted to somebody that's done it better than you, so that you can get that wisdom at it, whatever it is that you want to do. So basically, so to wrap things up, we totally believe that women can be bosses and running the world.
Boss babes.
And doing awesome, amazing things. But yeah, take time and find somebody that's doing what you want to be doing
And learn from them.
And learn from them.
Take
Sit
them
down
out
with
to
them.
lunch.
Pick their brain.
Yes.
Ask them all the questions like, how did you get from A to B, and how are you doing what you do? That's like number one importance. Get that good godly advice.
Yes.
Find somebody that that you can trust, that can speak into your life. Be accountable to someone, so that you have somebody that hey, if in 5 years you haven't hit this goal, just know I'm gonna be on you,
Right.
to make sure that you're
Right.
sticking to this plan that you've told me that God put in your heart. So get around good people and keep winning at life.
So we are on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we have a YouTube channel now where we put all of our videos. So please like, comment, share. You can tag people in this video, and we look forward to hearing from you. Leave your comments below. Let us know where you're watching from.
Yes.
We love you guys. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. If there's anything that you would like to hear us share on, please let us know.
Yes. Type
we
it in the
would-
comments.
Yes, we would love to know what you guys want to hear and see.
Yes.
Love you guys. Thanks so much for watching.
Bye.